And welcome back, everybody. It's Creative Redundancy back again, the one known as CR, like it says on your screen. Woo, 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 woo. Sound effects, movement. So hopefully everyone's doing well today. And of course, welcome back, because it's another Friday here with me. Of course, obviously it's Black Friday this time around. Although it kind of looks more like a White Friday for me. Just saying. Let's just say my shovel's standing up on its own outside right now. So hopefully everyone's doing well, like I said. And yes, everyone, by the way. As I show this here. Hi, Sunflower, I see you in there. Like I said. See? Not even joking. Not even joking here. So hopefully everyone's doing well today, like I said. Well, hey, I can see the side chat on my device. That's nice. That's good. I had something else ready just in case it wasn't gonna fly or do anything. So that's good to know. It's working. Just cleaning a few things here while I'm doing this stream at the same time. Like, literally, I am cleaning. Like, yeah. Right now. Just kind of, rinsing? Although I'm not really rinsing, but just kind of rinsing utensils here. I've heard about this. Oh, and by the way, Sunflower, I did see that, thing you sent me. So, yes, that reminds me of it now, so. I mean, I got some of that stuff outside right now. I can show you guys too. Outside, not just inside. But, like, I know it's supposed to be getting colder here this weekend. Although it's not supposed to linger around this kind of cold. It's supposed to be like, it may get down to 0 Fahrenheit, minus 17 Celsius. I'd say may, but it may be like plus 2 Fahrenheit, 3 Fahrenheit, minus 14 Celsius. So, I mean, technically it'll be the coldest so far for this 2025-2026 season. But obviously I know it's not going to get colder than that in time. I'm trying to kind of gauge it just by looking at structures or something that I didn't shovel or disturb the snow. I mean, let's say 3 inches, maybe 4, a third of a foot. I mean, it wasn't that windy, so there was like no drifting snow or anything like that. It's kind of more of the fluffy stuff. Doesn't have a lot of water in it, but it has a lot more air in it until it starts compressing and stuff like that. So I rinse a few things here. Yeah. So yeah, just rinsing a few dishes here. I had some soup last night. Well, actually not the last night, but the night before, so just making sure. Because I don't want it staining the bowl that I have. Although it's not that staining it, but just making sure it's actually kind of like ready here. Oh yeah, this is like working like a charm. Using what Mother Nature provided here. A little. Rinse my bowl here. Get this stuff kind of more settled. I mean, more clean. Just doing this real quick. So yeah, like I said yesterday, I was gonna be doing streams this weekend, so this is the start of one. I don't know if there will be one tomorrow, or later, or Sunday. We'll see. I know one thing's for sure. Unlike the previous stream where I was having issues with StreamYard setting it up, this time around, well, it's working normally. And I also can see the side chat on my device, which is nice too. I set up a different device just in case that didn't pan out, but it looks like I won't need to. Try to wipe my counter here real quick. Yeah, this is actually working quite nicely, actually. Maybe I'll show a video on this again. Remember the peanut butter jar? Yeah. I'm adapting that information a little bit here. Yeah, this is actually just not bad, actually. Not bad. Now I'll rinse my bowl here with some clean water. There we go. That'll be a little bit better now. Oh, I forgot to put this fork. No. Put it after. Stuff to the side here. So yeah, I still have to finish some of it outside. What I do is I put it to one side, then I'll pick it up at the end, kind of deal. Because sometimes, sometimes it's continuous, or like literally like 30 minutes later, it feels like you didn't do anything. Although you did, but that's how fast or how steady it's coming down. So that's why I usually do it like that now. Versus like, I mean, if it's already stopped, like right now, for example, it's stopped. It's not falling, no flurries or whatever, right? So like I can tidy it up or clean that area better, so to speak, right? But if it's continuously falling, right, there's almost no point in making it look like really nice, as they say, right? So that's why I usually push it to the side and I'll pick it back up at the end. I'll scoop it back up at the end, kind of deal, right? So yeah, just not have to sip my coffee here. Oh yeah, that hits the spot. That definitely hits the spot. So I'm planning, and I say planning, and hopefully it'll come to fruition here, but this kind of upcoming December, January, February, March, so the next 4 months, right? A third of a year, for anyways, I am planning to release some more of this kind of winter content, or something related to it. So you'll see, well, you'll probably see some sewing. You'll probably see some sewing. You'll probably see some snow. You'll probably see the white stuff. So that may interest you. I know some of the preparedness channels have been talking about the winter stuff, right? Being ready for it. And do what you can, right? Make sure, especially considering what is coming. Like this weekend too, right? Like, so today's a good day to like make sure you got that winter jacket out, or coat, or something along the lines of that. Or if, let's say you don't have one, or whatever, right? At least have some layers, right? Something to some sort of base layer, right? Shirt and stuff like that. Long sleeve shirt. Maybe a hoodie, maybe another jacket over top, for example, and maybe something that can shed the moisture, or that has a shell to resist the water, right? So if you're outside shoveling with snow falling around, because you don't want to wear something like that will absorb the moisture, because obviously as the snow hits your jacket or whatever, well, you in general, right? It starts to melt slightly because obviously we're always releasing heat, right? So and stuff like that. And in time, if you're wearing something like a fleece or something fluffy like that, it may start to get wet and you may feel colder than usual. Hey, what's up, Bell Lube? What's up, G? You got your wonjons on? Yeah, yeah. I don't need to dip into that quite yet. It's not quite like that. I think usually for me, it's in this kind of 0 Fahrenheit -17 range or lower, where at times a single layer of pants doesn't cut it, especially if there's wind or windshield, right? So something like long johns, a second pair of pants, whatever, something along the lines of that helps. Or, for some of us that live in the more northern Arctic type of climates, ski pants. Because usually ski pants have a shell to resist water, and usually on the inside they have some sort of insulation. So basically you're wearing like, it feels like you're wearing two pairs of pants, so to speak. I mean, I got an older pair, and it's newer to me anyways, pair. And I actually tried it out with just shorts underneath. Because I wanted to see, I was like, these ski pants are quite warm, right? And I mean, even with pants, obviously, right? Then I'm like, let's see if I wear shorts underneath. I did try it. Now, with that said, if my legs directly see, when you're wearing your pants, right, sometimes it doesn't always touch your skin, especially below the knee, right? Because the cuff expands out, for example, right? So there's that layer of air that's not really moving and can trap some heat, for example. But sometimes if you're directly touching it, right? And of course, if you're directly sitting on the ground, directly sitting on the snow or cement or a bench, it'll pull the heat out, right? I did notice that at times, but generally speaking, it was quite warm, even with just shorts on, for example. Yeah. Layers aren't warm. I mean, it's all relative, right, Gary? It's all relative to what you're used to, like, and such, right? I mean, if you're used to, like, 120, well, maybe not used to, but you see it more often, on the higher end of the scale for the temperature, seeing the temperature drop out to, let's say, from, like, 30 Celsius, 86 Fahrenheit, down to, like, even 50, well, maybe not 50, but let's say in the 30s, 40s, in the single digits Celsius, right? That can feel quite chilly. Because I've talked to some people that are more used to the heat or whatever, because they live in different parts of the world, and just like, to them, 40 Fahrenheit and +5 Celsius is cold. I mean, well, it's all relative, right? Because their area is more moderate for the climate. However, it can get cold, relatively cold, generally speaking, right? So, yeah. It's almost like, like trying to get used to the weather if you, like a snowbird or whatever. Or if you're coming to an area that's colder on vacation or like a business trip or whatever, right? Hence, again, you gotta prepare for that. Yeah, it's all relative. Yeah. So I can understand you wearing long johns, right? In that weather. For me, it's not quite that type of weather yet. Now, obviously, if I was spending time all day outside, hours and hours, I'm talking about like 3+ hours, right? And it's when maybe I would reconsider what I'm wearing, right? I'd be like, you know what? It might not be 0 Fahrenheit -17 Celsius, but I'm gonna be outside for a while. Maybe I'll wear a second pair of pants, maybe the ski pants, something along the lines of that, right? Put an extra later on. Because I can always vent some of the heat out. I can always open up my jacket, kind of let some air out, so to speak, right? get some of that heat out so I don't sweat. But if you don't have it, it's just like you gotta keep moving, right? You may feel colder without it. 'Cause you can always vent the heat out. You can always, you know, put more layers on, so to speak. But you can't put the layers on if you don't have them. You can't vent the heat if you're not generating enough, or I shouldn't say generating enough, but retaining the heat enough or long enough, if that makes any sense. So yeah. You know what? I think I got an idea. Whoa! What's up, Barry? Storm! Look who stormed in. It's the cat dude. I always look like the cat dude. It's like these nicknames I give people randomly. Based on, like, usually, like, what they like or something along the lines of that, right? I mean, at this rate, I could be known as the Sunflower Guy. At this rate. I wouldn't mind that as a nickname. Hey, look, it's the Sunflower Dude. I should actually say that now. Just randomly. When I show people the sunflowers I have. Obviously not right now. But you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. They'll be like, what's your name? I'm known as the Sunflower Guy. Right? Boom. Oh, yeah, sunflower's still here. So yeah. So I've been making a list here. I'm not gonna show you the list, obviously, because this is like stuff that I've projects, content creation type of projects, right? But I did write down 5 at the moment. Now I'm trying to add a few more into this and kind of get it down on paper, so to speak, and so I can start thinking about it. There's a few things I have in mind, right? I mean, I'll move my table here a little here. I mean, not move my table, clear off my table a little bit. But yeah. Sierra's my guy. That has no... It had no bear. I was gonna say it regardless if you were here or not, Sunflower. I almost feel like I should take a screenshot of that and be like, apparently Sunflower says this about me. I mean, it is a public. We're in a public space, so technically I can share that, right? And technically I have the live chat replay available, so anyone can see it anyways. I'm gonna do that. Why not? Screenshot. Yeah, there we go. I'll just randomly put it on my community board. I'll be like, this is my big fan. I got a big fan right here. They like what I said. They like my content. Right. Kind of deal, right? Maybe I'll add something to it. Edit. Not the words, but like the background a little here. So yeah. What was I? See, I just had a squirrel moment there. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you something. Cause I was clearing out the table. Alright. See sunflower? I did make some more. I showed this yesterday, but yeah. Something I've been working on, so to speak. So, and yes, I have started to try these out, so to speak. It helps. Go for it. Yeah. So, yeah. As I wrap my head around like creating some more things. I was gonna use the word bored, but yeah. If you know anything about this, you know what I mean. I'll try to keep you guys in the loop on that one. Not quite like a belt loop, but you know, a loop nevertheless. Yeah, exactly. Sunflower. Did I notice that you... Is that an I in there instead of an L? I just noticed that, didn't I? Well, maybe not exactly. Well, it's possible, but I'll use them for something else first. I have something else if I wanted to do something like cleaning with, right? I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but it's not my first choice, right? Right? It's usually clean. If you start getting something stuck inside, it may, quote unquote, stain it. So, yeah. And no, I'll say you would have to wash it. Or at least rinse it, right? But yeah, I've actually used these already a few times. Even for a simple square. Wow. Okay, two squares joined as a rectangle. Actually, it's more useful than I realized. I didn't even when I was making it, I wasn't sure, right? And I was just like, I don't know, right? But as soon as I had, quote unquote, a prototype ready, I was trying it out. I'm like, hey, this ain't so bad, right? This helps here, maybe there, somewhere else. Keep something warm or whatever, right? Or among some other things I can use it for. So, and though, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video more on it. I was considering on it. And, I mean, there is videos out there showing about it, but I'll show my approach on it and stuff. But what I will say is that I made it for free. Literally for free. Like, don't get me wrong, yeah, I have to set it up or make it, right? But, if I had that time, then yeah, I could do it. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, Gary. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, I'm trying out. Why not? Grow that knowledge bank, right? That skill bank stuff. I'm like, well, at least I tried it, right? At least I can understand it. Use the terminology in the correct way, right? And stuff like that. That they use in videos when they're explaining it. And I was like, oh, and as I tried to warp my mind around it. That's a pun, by the way. Yeah. If you've done this before, then if you've done it before, you would know what I mean. Because there is something else I've been considering for the channel. It's a much more elaborate, bigger type of project. And when I say bigger, it will be bigger because it'll be quite long. Not necessarily thick, but quite long, so it may take me some time. But someone knows about this, like, they know about this, but basically, I've been reconsidering these cover shelter clothing elements a little bit more. Because, like, as I'm getting older here, right? I mean, like, I'm starting to wear down clothing options, right? Not because they're old, it's because I've used them for so long, right? I'm talking about, like, years and years and years. Maybe even a decade, right? So some of the stuff is starting to wear down. Or, maybe it doesn't fit me anymore, right? Too big, too small, whatever, right? Sleeves are too long, There's a big, like, hole, right? And yeah, I can mend them. Like, don't get me wrong, I can mend the stuff if absolutely necessary. But let's say it's like, you're not into that specific brand or style or decoration on the shirt anymore. For example, right? It reminds you like something you don't like so much, right? So basically, I've been considering on converting the items, all right? Because I was just like, and here's the thing. Let's just say it's an old high school shirt, right? Yeah, you can wear it around, as house clothes, as they say, right? Underneath something or whatever, right? Where no one would notice anyways, right? But as it wears down, or let's just say you don't want to wear it anymore or whatever, right? That kind of stuff can be quite tricky to get into the hands of someone else, right? Because, like, who's gonna go out and, think about this. Like, yeah, you can give the shirt, let's just say it has your high school name, blah, 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 logo, whatever, right? Yeah, you can try to give it to away secondhand, right? And stuff like that. But how many people would actually want to be wearing a high school name, blah, 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 right? When they never attended that school, right? I'm just saying, it's one of those things, I'm just like, maybe it's better if I try to reuse it, or kind of convert it into something else. So, something I've been, considering more and more. Because I have this other stuff at times, I just, it's just oh, hey, I'm missing a sock, right? I know some people have, this kind of single sock drawer, single sock bin or whatever for singlet. I mean, single socks, right? Until you find a matching pair or whatever, because for some reason, one of the socks disappeared. Or what they say, the dryer or the washer ate a sock. I don't know what happened to it, right? And you're trying to finding it, and you don't then notice that it fell, in between the dryer and the washer, or whatever. Right? And the next thing you know, it's just I'm missing a sock, right? I mean, if you buy the same color style of sock, I mean that's one thing, right? You could probably mix match like that, but even if it's this different color, it's not so bad. It's more one long sock and one short sock, right? Kind of deal, right? Something along the lines of that. And sometimes, you get holes in socks, so you switch that out, right? Or whatever, right? So I'll use, let's say I have a hole on the right side, right? The left side's still good. I can match that back up with a single sock and go like that. And then try to reuse that sock that has a hole. Especially if I didn't darn it up, reconnect and patch the hole in the sock. You're always missing socks? Well, it's because everyone keeps knocking your socks off. I'm sorry, I had to say that. I had to bring that up, but yeah. But yeah, if you're always missing socks or whatever, right? And the thing is, like I've shown in the past, socks can be reused too. I've reused socks in a certain way for something different or whatever. Once, at least twice on video, and probably more in real life, right? Some things that I haven't really shown or whatever, right? I mean, especially certain socks, long socks, right? Maybe knee high or calf height type of sock. I'm not talking about crew socks, right? That are really shallow in terms of, that barely covered your ankle, right? Those can be a little bit more tricky to reuse just because there's less surface area, less length, right? I've shown in the, I guess I can go grab it out. It is supposed to get colder. Maybe I should just grab it out anyway. Take care, Gary. Enjoy the weekend, man. I appreciate you dropping by. As I pull something out here. Oh, good. I found it. I found it right away. I've shown this before, where I extended the protection, like I said in that video. Let me just pull this out. Yeah, this is why. Let's not pull this out anyway. Alright. Because here's a prime example of it right here. Alright, here's a prime example of me reusing a sock to get a little bit more out of, right? And it's just something I had. Even the thread, or what I used as it, What's up, Billy? I reused, right? So this project was like pretty much for free. Apparently, I got something right there. Alright. And it was a good use of reusing it. I mean, so. Because this allows me to, like, reuse it, obviously, but, you know, if something happens, more holes develop, whatever, I can still use it like a rag, right? Something like a rag, for example, would be the last one of two of the last approaches to it, right? Ever keep it as a clothing item as much as possible, right? And kind of repurpose it or even upcycle it, right? Because if I make it into a rag, I know that I'd be down cycling it, right? Because pretty much it probably has holes in it. It's probably going to get stained, blah, 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 you know, have a smell because of what I'm cleaning with or whatever, right? Still. And it's kind of hard to want to go back to making it into a piece of clothing, right? Yeah. You could do something like that too. I mean, like. Let me just put this on here. Oh, yeah, this is the right side. Yeah. Let me turn on my camera back on here. See? You mean like this, right? As you can see, right? Extends, because you can see where it was, right about there. It's because it's almost the same color. Almost, not quite. You can see it right there. That's more like a charcoal type of gray to more of a black, right? You can notice it. It's not too noticeable, but I know well, I know because I did it, right? But basically, it extends, like I said in the video, it extends it down past my wrist a little bit more. So if I'm wearing a jacket, I can put it underneath, for example, right? I can still, you know, fingerless gloves, handle, use a display or whatever, something that needs more, dexterity, yes. Yeah, cool. And that also reminds me of something else I tried, Billy. Something else I've also tried. But yeah, even what I just showed you guys, right? I can put a mitt over top of that. Still, I remember showing this. Who did I show this to? Uncle Al, yeah, I remember this one time. I forget whose stream it was. It was like I was on the panel or whatever, right? I was just like they were talking about winter or whatever, right? I'm just like I bring up all these like layers. I was just like, not just one, not just two, not just three, but sometimes 4 layers, or at least it's possible, right? And that's something I would do if it's, you know, I'm saying like minus 22 Fahrenheit, minus 30 Celsius or lower, at least that kind of temperature. That's where I would like kick it up a notch, right? Especially if I'm gonna be outside for longer periods of time. For example, let's just say an event such as New Year's Eve, right? I mean, if you look at like places, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be places to warm up and stuff like that, but generally those events are outdoors, right? You know, there's skating. I don't know, maybe people making snow people, right? Snow angels, right? Obviously the fireworks and all that stuff. You gotta be outside for that, right? And yeah, hot chocolate, hot coffee, hand warmers, yeah, that all helps, right? But, you know, having proper shelter components, clothing, cover components here, right? So you can just be like enjoying it and be like, yeah, right? Yeah, it's probably possible too. If you're, well, you need enough of the material, right? It's totally possible. I mean, like, I've shown and demonstrated in a video making a buff. I made a buff or gator, right? Basically, or neck gator, whatever, right? Basically, it's a tube, right? Basically, think of it as a tube to put around your neck, your face, and stuff like that, right? I mean, yeah. I can add those in as part of my layering, right? Cover my neck, for example, right? Especially if there's high windshield or high wind. Because I know, like, especially when it's really windy outside, you know, you will notice anything that's not really protected, so to speak. Not just bare skin, but, like, any spots that the wind's just blowing right through your, let's say, gloves or whatever, right? You may notice that more, just because the more consistent wind. It might not even be gusting, it could just be a consistent wind, right? And of course, wind chilled, right? Wind blows that heat right off of you. Right? It just blows that little layer of heat that's like right next to your body off of you, right? Because if you think about like an open, let's say, campfire or a candle or whatever, the heat rises due to buoyancy, right? Because heat rises, right? But if you're blowing it, right, you can blow the heat to the side to a little bit, so the convection doesn't like go straight up due to buoyancy, but the force of the wind is, or your breath or whatever, is blowing it to the side. So think about it like that, all right? But on a bigger scale, like about the body, right? And it's pushing that heat right off you, all right? Therefore, you need something to resist that or delay or block the wind, right? Or deflect it around, right? So it's not, you know, blowing right through you. The pins and needles, you know, where it's just like, where you may feel it, right? Because I've seen it before where people are always talking about the wind, right? You know, the actual air temperature is one thing, but if the wind's high enough or fast enough and long enough and steady enough, right, it could feel a lot colder than it may seem. The feel-like temperature, right? In the same way that humidity in the summertime makes it feel hotter, right? In that same way, wind can make it feel colder. Yeah, you got a green pumpkin? Cool. Too much caffeine. Alright. Guess I can show this again. Where did I... Look at that. Oh, it's right here. Look how this... For anyone that saw my previous stream, I guess I'll show this again. Yeah, see? I swear it grew like another centimeter. Or it feels like it. Feels like it. Yeah, it's still, there's some moisture in there. Just a little bit of weight. Well, not directly. Like, today's Friday, right? Black Friday. I started it 72 hours ago, back on Tuesday. On the 25th. So look at the calendar here, right? This is another batch of it, right? I've been staggering it. I have a batch, the original, the first batch, and it's almost ready. It's almost ready to consume, right? I'm just kind of thinking, I'm like, do I want to have it today? Kind of deal, right? Because I'm delaying that kind of, like, where the shell separates from the plant, right? I'm just trying to delay that until I'm ready, right? For example, let's say if I want to have it tomorrow, I would actually expose it tomorrow late, right? I'm just delaying it a little bit so I can actually have it ready. Because live food doesn't spoil, right? Living food doesn't spoil while it's still doing its thing, right? But, you know, because obviously once I cut it, then, you know, the time starts on it, right? And it's no longer being sustained by anything, so, yeah. So, I should have actually took a picture last night, but I mean, it seems like it anyways. I know, well, I know it's growing, right? Because I've been watching it day to day, right? And I'm like, yeah. It's slowly picking it up, right? And what I'm doing is actually just taking a metal lid here and just setting it on top. I wouldn't do this if I was like actually trying to grow these out fully to maturity, right? But what I'm trying to do is actually so they get longer, right? And stuff like that. Something I also like kind of saw in these videos that people were using them or making them or growing them, right? They would put a weed at the top or whatever, right? And kind of force it to like use energy to grow tall. In this case, right? In this case, for microgreens, for example, right? Obviously, if you were trying to grow these for maturity all the way to something fruiting or to get seeds off of, you wouldn't do it like this, right? You wouldn't do it like that. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they are different plants, right? But anyway. If anything, right? It will give you a little bit more diversity. More variation or more, yeah, diversity, right? Diversify the food or the seeds themselves, right? So you have another option, another alternative or contingency, for example, or to supplement or complement something else. Yeah. And I gotta remember, I still have this glove/mitt on. I left it on my right hand for a little bit here. Let me take it back off here. But yeah, as I take a look at this, I kind of like these, like early in the season, just because like they're nice. I mean, I can wear these underneath other things too, right? So I can layer it in, for example. So I can actually take my jumbo mitt, my jumbo mitt that's more like a shell now, right? And put that over top, right? Put that over top, especially if it's snowing, wet snow or whatever, right? Because that glove/mitt, right? It will absorb moisture in time, right? Especially if snowing or whatever, if I'm touching snow or whatever, right? Let's say shoveling or whatever, right? So, hence I would use that shell, my jumbo mitt shell, to kind of repel the water to a certain degree. That way my glove or whatever's on the inside stays dry. Because dry clothing keeps you warmer. And usually wet clothing, well, it'll cool you down or make you cold, right? Even wool, I mean, wool has, I always been hearing, oh yes, it stays this much warmer even if it's wet, blah, 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 right? But, I mean, there's still some moisture, right? They say, 80%, right? Well, that's still 20% loss, right? So, like, sitting dry is probably important. But, I mean, I know wool helps. Because I've been wet with wool before. It wasn't even, like, winter time, right? It's, single digits, high wind, moisture, rain, stuff like that, right? And I felt that. But that was, like, hours of it, right? So, yeah. Well, I mean, Billy, if you can't find it or buy it, you don't have to create it. I mean, or at least, replicate it to a certain degree, right? I mean, there's just certain things out there that are probably going to be more difficult for people to make. I'm not saying it's impossible, right? But something like, if you're technically inclined and all that stuff with some knowledge, you have the tools and the resources, the raw resources, yeah, you probably could put it there. But not everyone has that skill, that knowledge, and the tools or the resources to pull these things together. I'm saying, like, I don't know how to make a phone. I know the components to a certain degree, right? But you're gonna need a little bit more expertise to create that, right? Hence, more people are likely to buy it or find it, or even like get a secondhand one, right? Because I don't know many people that can do that, right? I know there's some people out there that can make radio, right? But you know, I don't hear a lot of, hey, I can make a phone. I'm talking about like a smartphone, right? I'm not talking about some landline, right? That probably seems a little bit more achievable, landline or something like that. It's not as complex as a smartphone or even a flip phone. Just some more power back to my device here. So yeah, make sure it's running. Come on. Okay, yeah, it's charging. All right. So yeah, there's some other ideas that I've had in mind, right? Some of them, well, it's gonna be a one-off because I only have one source of it, right? That I'm trying to, like, let's say, repurpose or whatever, right? So I'm trying to think very, very logically. I'm like someone knows this one project I have in mind, right? I'm just like, something I'm not repurpose or whatever, but I'm like, the repurposing won't be the hard part. It's more figuring out what do I want out of it. What am I repurposing it into? That's what I've been considering. I'm like, do I want to make this or that? Do I actually need another one? Would it help here, right? And another thing is, until I actually do it, have a prototype in my hands, a physical thing, like I can touch, feel. I don't know how well it would work out, right? For example, for anyone that hasn't seen my Jumbo Mitt kind of video where basically I reuse some material and I made something for the winter time, right? That I had no idea how nice, warm, or comfortable, or whatever it would be until I actually had a prototype ready. Like I showed you guys making their side of it, right? Because it's a mirror image of the right side, the left side. And I was just like, once I actually start to have like one ready, like more or less ready, and start to using it, and then as I was working on the matching pair for it, I was just like trying it out outside. I'm like, hey, this ain't so bad. This ain't so bad. It's pretty good for what it is, especially considering that I repurposed items, materials for it, right? So basically, I took quote unquote trash and I made it into that treasure, right? That's insane. So that's why I was just like, yeah. If my device was charging. For some reason it went down, even though well, I guess I'm at 44. So we'll see. As long as the battery level goes up, I should be good. I'll be more concerned if it's not going up, especially since I don't even have my display that high. Right? Honestly, I got Wi-Fi on, right? Stuff like that. I don't have Bluetooth on here, so. But yeah, when I was making it, I was just like, man, this is turning out pretty good. Not perfect, or like great, but pretty good, right? Pretty good. I could have worked on the stitching. I probably, in hindsight, I should have made the stitching tighter or closer. The loops of the back stitch tighter. I shouldn't have made it so wide at times. But if I make another version, I'll know about that, right? Because now I have experience with it, right? Because I actually did it, and I'm applying that knowledge and the sewing skill, right? The knowledge of backstitching, for example, right? And it's like, oh yeah, right? Hey, it's Huga. Hi, CB. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, you're doing that. I've heard about that before, Billy. Who showed it? I think it was David West that showed an example of that. I'm seeing other things about that, so it is possible. Right? There is something that could be useful, right? Hey everyone, guess what? Apparently, everyone now. Wait, come on. Everybody do the wave. Woo. Do the wave. Wave. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I heard about this from some other people. People that send me links. Right. What was it? Ryan Hall? Was it Ryan Hall or something like that? I don't follow that kind specifically them, but so I've heard. So, I mean, it's even in the forecast here for this kind of weekend. Probably not as much compared to out east, but it's still, some. I just got some yesterday and overnight. So, in this early part of the morning of the Friday, right? I was just like, you know. Well, they're both 4-letter words. All right. However you want to describe that. Not warm, chilly, frozen white rain type of stuff, right? Right. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like even what's it called? Yesterday for me, I was trying out some stuff outside again. There's this one thing I did try it in the past, right? I'm trying it again, and just to see. I mean, it is colder than the first the first live stream I did earlier this month, right? I mean, it looks the same outside, but it is slightly colder. Slightly colder. And a little bit more of the white stuff. A little bit more. I mean, I know this will stick around for a bit because the temperature is not rising for a while. It's not gonna be like, oh, look, it's nice and sunny. It's not that windy. The temperature is like hovering around the freezing mark or above, right? Where it would melt more, right? No. It's more cloudy, less sun, and far below freezing. Like if I saw anything melting or dripping of water out there, it's because there's a heat source, like a roof. Or it's randomly sunny and the snow is covered by dirt or on a warmer surface like shingles or a metal roof or a metal surface that can absorb that solar energy and cause it to melt, right? But outside of that, right, it'll be slow to melt it. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I almost forgot my coffee. Left it on the other side of the table. I could stand up and get it. Yeah, I mean, we only got so much time, right? We all only have so much time, right? Try to use it the best you can, alright? It's just like, at times, like, if you keep busy or whatever, right, time can pass by fast, right? They say that about work, right? And stuff like that. Try to keep busy, right? Try to keep doing something. Because if you think about, like, if you ever go on vacation or whatever, it just seems like the time just goes by so fast because, usually you have a route or things scheduled of events or whatever you want to do, whatever, right? You're visiting people, right? Next thing you know, your 2 week, 3 week, 4 week vacation. It seems like it just went by so fast, right? It didn't even seem like a month. It seemed like only a week, but because you're doing stuff, visiting people, right, and stuff like that. In my opinion. Hello, Vanessa. And Billy's doing more of a wave for us. My choice of coffee. Does Coffee Crisp count? I'm sorry. I had to say that. How do you like your coffee, CR? Crisp. No. Oh, oops. Oh, yeah, good. My battery is going up. It's at 50 now. Good. So, yeah. What I'm doing here is actually like... I could show you guys real quick. Well, let me move this to the side slowly. I'll show you guys. I'll have to pick it back up after. I'll show you guys. Let me put it on the table here. Lay it out, so to speak, right? I just have it sitting in a cup right now, but... Well, I might as well drink more coffee, because like Vanessa and Bill here want to talk about coffee. Oh, yeah. See, I'm still doing this. Nope. I'm still doing this. And yes, you can tell what's in here. It's a lot more in here than you may realize for what it is. So, yes, this will slowly be added back into the ground in time. Now I gotta put it back in the cup. But yeah, you could see some of the... You would have saw some of it. I mean, like... I got, like... quite a bit in there, generally speaking. Oops. No, Billy, that is not it. Almost, right? Well, Billy, it's, I'm chopping and dropping it. That's what it is, dude. That's what it is. No, I haven't, Vanessa. But yeah, let me just put it back in the cup that I have it in. This is a lot more than it seems, for what it is. Just due to the fact that also I get winter here, right? Decomposition in the wintertime is much slower compared to the summertime. Because biological activity from bacteria breaking down is much slower as the temperature, falls into the 40 Fahrenheit range, 4 Celsius range and lower. And also, it's almost stops if it's extremely cold, right? Unless it's like, covered and insulated and all that stuff, right? And big enough too, right? Some sort of compost bin that's big enough, yeah. It can generate enough heat if it's big enough, right? Right, but something small, it's not going to generate enough biological heat in terms of, from the bacteria and, and stuff, the decomposers as it's breaking it down, right? So I'm just kind of helping Mother Nature a little bit here. Speed up the process just a little bit of time. It's below freezing, Vanessa. I know it is. I don't even have to, like, it was probably 20 Fahrenheit this morning for me, or slightly below that. maybe even 18. All right. I think I saw that minus 10 Celsius this morning. Like, also, it's a little bit more less cold now, obviously. It's midday, but yeah. That's why I've been getting some of this stuff ready as much as possible. Now I wish I had a donut to go with this coffee I had. That would be nice. That would be nice. Dang! That's some of that heat. Dang, Bailey. I'll take 7. Hell, I'd take anything above zero Celsius here too right now, Fahrenheit. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. You're getting that solar thermal energy, right? Especially if it's not too windy outside, maybe calmer outside, and clear skies. Because as the sun hits the surface, it starts to warm it up, right? Especially if it's a darker surface, let's say shingles, maybe something that can absorb heat energy faster or better, like metal, like a tin roof, for example, right? Dark shingles, especially if the surface is darker in color, right? Yeah. Yeah, they're not so bad. It doesn't seem so bad, right? In contrast, where I've seen it where, you know, it could be sunny but really windy, it doesn't feel as more. Even though you're getting solar thermal energy hitting the surface or you, because of the wind, it's kind of blowing it off, right? So the net effect is like almost 0, right? In comparison, if it was calm and sunny, and at the same temperature, at the same part of the day, right, in the same location, there is a difference, right? There is a difference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Bill. So yeah, that stuff. I'm just breaking it down a little bit, right? Maybe even watching a video or doing this, watching a video or a live stream or whatever, right? Just kind of doing it. I mean, like I'm just doing a little piece right here, right? Spread it out, increase the surface area a little here. Ever since I did it like 5-6 years ago, I'm like actually more consistently trying to doing it now. And of course, I just dropped this little piece. But yeah, I'm trying to more consistently doing this, right? And keep adding back into the soil, back into the ground, right? So, adding those inputs in. So I'm pretty sure those tomatoes, the plants, the beans, all this other stuff are pulling something out of the ground. Right? Whatever it is. Aside from the moisture. Right? Aside from the carbon, the nitrogen sources, and stuff like that. In the Arctic, you had it if the skies were... Well, I mean... You know... If it's clear overnight, it feels colder. A little bit of cloud cover, almost like acts like insulation to a certain degree. Right? To a certain degree. Right? But yeah, I get what you mean, Vanessa. Because I've seen it where, if it's like, it could be where it feels colder, right? Or like, relatively speaking, right? Compared to like, let's say the night before, relatively the same temperature, but it's cloudy. So... Yeah. Yeah, I get that, Billy. Oh, Billy, maybe you gotta work on that idea. Alright? Get a prototype! Get a pen for it! Alright? Go, or something along the lines of that. Yeah. I'm not gonna say what he said, but you can read it. I am not saying that out loud. That might be misunderstood. And I don't wanna yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. Straight up, Billy, I'm not saying it out loud. Let alone putting it on the screen and highlighting it, yeah. Yeah, you didn't have it. That's not cool. I saw your cup. I saw your cup sleeve on over one on your posts that you shared, and I was just like, dang. And this is just like in creation mode. Oh, I know it's been a while since I've said it, but yeah. All right. I guess technically I'm in creation mode. Not really. I mean, you guys can't see. I'm just breaking something apart. All right. Remember what I showed yesterday? Yesterday, the last stream, right? Yeah, just kind of breaking it apart. Remember, I used our parts of it, right? So, tried to get the most out of the resource as much as possible. Oh, cool. Yeah. I remember you saying that. The lobster claw snaps clips. Yeah. I remember that. That was like the last part of the sentence that you wrote on that post. But yeah, what I'm doing here is just increasing the surface area while I'm talking here. Multitask this a little here. So it helps. And maybe I can get something else out of it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't mind doing this. I mean, just because, like, it'll disappear in time, right? Once I put it in the ground, right? Now, with that said, as another YouTuber out there says, right? And Billy, I know you know that the channel. Because I seen your comment over on their channel. On the gardening channel. But, like, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's broken down all the way, right? Or it's biologically available for the plants, right? Sometimes, just because, I mean, these little tiny things, or just, we can't see it with the naked eye, but it may not be biologically available yet, right? It may have to be broken down even more, right? Where it's like finer or smaller than, human hair, for example, right? Kind of deal, right? Or it's the smaller than like pollen, right? Where the micron size is small, really small, right? And it's been broken down to its individual parts, right? Versus these complex, more compounds, right? What? You don't think I've seen that channel before? I'm not subscribed in, but I have watched content. No, it's not. It's not. Well, yeah. I'm just increasing the surface area on it. If I showed you the other part of it, you'd be like, oh, that's what it is. Just breaking it apart a little here. Because basically, the 2 minutes I'm taking would take like microbes like a whole month at least, right? And I'm increasing the surface area quite a bit, like substantially quite a bit, right? So, and I'll increase it a little bit more too, right? Because like I said, decomposition here in the winter is like slow, right? Very slow. If anything, only the fungi can really do it, right? The bacteria is it's slow, especially right now, since it's below freezing and stuff, colder, right? Oh, yeah? You want to do that, Vanessa? Yeah. Collect some, yeah, I see. I see. Like, I'm not even using any tools yet, right? Just breaking apart my hand. Real quick here, right? Oh, and here's an encore presentation of it. I had to say it like that. Hey, you know how much I like to use the CR words at times, right? But yeah. See? I think that'll show without even saying what it is. But yeah. I'll add it into the little pieces I have. Like now I'm actually kind of rolling it in my hand, alright? Real quick. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not even using tools yet. Tools. Not even using power tools or anything to even speed up the process even faster, right? For what it is. Oh wow, really, Billy? Nice, nice. Nice. I know. I had. I have a friend that used to have something like that, right? Bar stools and stuff like that. I still remember that too. Although I never did have a drink at that bar stool. I did sit on it though. Yeah. But that was a while ago. Still, I think I'm trying to remember. I think the bar stool seats were red, right? That leather type of style. I think, right? And obviously it swivels around and stuff like that. You know, kind of similar if you went to a bar or a pub or anything like that, and you were at the bar, kind of deal. Oh, that's not. Slowly add this in here. You're trying to decide on what's the. Well, I mean, like, just kind of imagine it, right? Or have a prototype or something that you can refer to and kind of picture it a little bit more in your mind, kind of deal. You know, you know, maybe it's augmented reality, right? I mean, I've done like where like I'm rearranging, let's say, a room or whatever, right? And also, let's say you got tables, desks, whatever, right? I've actually, let's say, for example, it's not when's 9 by 9 meters, right? Maybe about, I don't know, 100 square feet, whatever, right? I've done it more. I've done this in two ways. I've done it like manually, and I've done it digitally. But basically, and I measured all the tables, the desk, the furniture, whatever, all this stuff, right? I had those dimensions, right? And I scaled it down into like on a sheet of paper that has the same kind of dimensions, right? But on a smaller scale, it's a scaled down ratio, right? Let's say, 1,000 to 1, right? I mean, 1 to 1,000, right? And stuff like that. And basically, I would make either cutouts or whatever, or if I was doing it digitally, it would be a separate layer, right? Similar to like if you were like editing photos or whatever, right? I mean, technically you probably could use Photopea, right? Online image editing, right? Web based, right? And basically set it up like that, so I could virtually or on a small scale rearrange pieces of paper layers with names on it of desk, table, blah blah blah, and be like, and kind of visualize it, right, and be like, yeah, it does fit here because it's based on the original measurements that I made in the real world of the things, right? You know, it's a 3-foot table, right? I'd be like, well, there is some clearance, and usually I would round the numbers up, right? That way I would know for sure, right? But yeah, I actually did it. I was just like, yes, this will fit. I got like at least 2-3 inches of clearance, right, from the wall, right? I'm just like, I can squeeze this in. And the reason I do it, so I'm moving the virtual things and making sure before I start to use the energy and the time to move the physical items, for example, right? It's just like a blueprint, if that makes any sense. As I try to increase the surface area here. Oh yeah. It's starting to actually come together. Well, not come together, but it's starting to separate like I want it to. So yeah, I've done that before. I remember rearranging something. Right, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time to do this. Right, like I said, now maybe it will save some energy, some effort later, right? Because then I already have a plan that should be sound because it's based on actual measurements. It's just scaled down, right? You know, it's just like those model car sets or whatever. Like I'm just scaling it down, right? With similar units, right? Almost like a ratio, right? If anything, I'm just like, okay, I think this will fit inside into this one corner or this one wall or against the one wall or whatever, right? Like even if it's like some vertical, right? I'd be like the surface, not the surface area, the surface area, right? On the horizontal plane, right? Because sometimes I'm like, something as simple as a tape measure, some paper, right? May help, right? Because there's nothing worse than, let's move all this stuff. Let's move this big table, right? People are helping you or whatever, taking time out of their day to help you, and you're half an inch. Maybe not even half an inch. It could be a quarter of an inch too long. It does not fit in the space, for example, against the wall with their things, right? Right. And that's just like, right? Then you're trying to figure it out again, right? Because obviously you can't leave it in that spot because it's sticking out or it doesn't fit properly, right? Just because it's just a little bit too wide or too long, for example, right? Where some planning may actually help in that. If that makes any sense. So yeah. Alright. Okay. There's at 67. That's good. If I increase the surface area, I'm just gonna let this air out a little bit more. It's not totally ready, but it's more ready anyways. I mean, it's not that small, but it's not bad. Right, and I'll slowly add that in. Let's plug my device here for a moment here. Grab some other things here. I gotta move some stuff, that's why. Yeah. I just started doing that a little bit more. There is a commercial item for this. Usually for people that, live in apartments or whatever, right? These food cyclers, right? I mean, Gummy is probably the more popular brand, I guess, right? And I've seen the videos on it, right? So, I'm just trying to see, non-electric method, right? But something like that can help, right? Especially if you can use the stuff after. Extend it, a little bit here. But yeah. like I said in like some of the spring prep videos at times that I do outside, right? When I'm adding the stuff, usually I would say, this is probably not the quote unquote add or be available per se this gardening season, but it'll help the next season as it breaks down, for example, right? So, for example, something I added back in the springtime, it's been 9 months, right? I'll say the decomposition or whatever is less now, but it is probably starting to be more biologically available to the plants in time, right? And to everything else that's residing within the soil medium. Stuff like that, beetles, worms, ants, and all that stuff, right? And they'll move it around. As they tunnel through and make their holes and, and all that stuff. And I think I'll show you guys real quick. I'm not gonna show it that long. But I will show parts of it real soon here. Just gotta dig somewhere out here. I'll show you guys here. Amongst more things I have. But yeah. Let's open the door. See. I know enough. Not as knowledgeable as some people out there about it. But yeah. Like I said. Boom. Alright. Let me show some of this. Alright. Like I said, I can stand the shovel in this if I really wanted to. Actually, I do have one nearby. Hold on. Look. Shovel. Oh, yeah, see? I'm not holding it. And I'm holding the phone. So, yeah, it's standing on its own. That's how much I got. That's how I gauge it now. How much did you get? Enough to stand the shovel. Like, look at this. I'll show this other one, too. See, it's standing up on its own. It's standing up on its own. And it's mostly cloudy. There's a little bit of the sun. I could see it. I could see the main disc, but, I'm not really getting a lot of warmth from it, so to speak, right? I could see it. It's on the kind of on the southwest side right now until it starts to set more. Walk back inside here. But yeah. That's how much came down. Not that, I mean, I've seen more, but, it's enough that it's more than a coating on the ground. Or it's more than a dusting, right? It's a little bit more than that. Maybe not as much as some people may see this weekend, but, at times I've seen my fair share of that kind of the white stuff. Accumulations, right, and stuff like that, where, around here, it would be like, in centimeters, right? They'd be like saying like 15, 20 centimeters of snow, blah, 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 right? And remember, 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch for you guys in the US, right? So I did the conversion, so, if you know anything about math, you can set up a ratio and figure everything else out from there, right? So that'd be like 20 centimeters, maybe close to like not quite, obviously, but closer to a foot of snow, all right? So, and that's if you don't move it, right? As soon as you start shelving it or pushing it to the side or whatever, it starts to increase in height, right? And hence, in the start of the season compared to like midway through the season, right? The snowbank can start rising, right? Especially if it's not melting or compressing too much as ice, right, under its own weight, right? Because it will settle out. The snow will settle out. It will settle out, and the air will be kind of, the trapped air will kind of be like released, right? And it settles out, right? It's in the same way that if you ever made a snow fort, like a Quincy, right? A type of system, right? Or even a snow wall, right? You start to notice that. Where as you compress the snow, it changes, it becomes harder, right? Because you're squeezing the air out and the water's remaining, and then obviously as it cools down again, or whatever, or the temperature drops or whatever, overnight temperatures, it starts to harden more and more, and it becomes less and less like snow and turns more into ice, right? Because the sheer amount of it, right? Because 1 cubic meter, 3.28 feet cubed, right, of water is about a ton, right? So if you start adding enough snow in, right, it starts to have, considerable amount of weight at the top. I think this is why, like, stuff like the pitch of roofs and stuff like that are important, right? Something like a flat roof is not ideal in the winter, right? You want some sort of pitch, for example, right? So it kind of wants to slide down, right? Versus accumulate on the top, right? And stuff like, these videos you see out there where, like, roof comes down or caves in on a structure due to snow on top. I mean, that can happen. This is why something like roof shovel, for example, right, is useful, especially if you don't have the steepest pitch on a roof, right? Like, I remember this other day, I was walking around, I saw this one roof, I'm like, that looks kind of flat, right? Hopefully they don't ever have issues with the snow, right? But I can imagine maybe they have a a roof shovel, right, to help them out. That has an extendable handle and stuff like that, so you can actually, like, pull it down, right? That way it doesn't, like, do something, right? I mean, it's a lot safer than trying to get on the roof. I mean, like, ladder, cold, roof. I don't want to mix those things together. Probably not, right? Because it's too easy to slide out, in my opinion. Series or parallel, yeah. Join together or adding, or yeah, it's basically like adding together or multiplying, I guess, right? If I remember right. The difference between those. Yeah. You're the same amperage, but higher voltage, or more amperage at the same volt. If I remember right. I'm not as smart as some people out there, right? But I am trying to apply the knowledge whenever possible. So yes. At least I'm getting some. Oh, look at that! I'm getting a sunny break right now, which is nice. Hopefully my solar lights will charge a little bit, but I mean, I'm not expecting much this time around. It wasn't that sunny out, and this is late afternoon sun, right? It's not like I saw a lot of sun earlier on in the day. But yeah, it's not so bad right now. Like, I can see the sun in my window. My indoor plants on the south-facing side are getting some sunshine right now, which is nice. Just taking a look at this real quick. I'm almost thinking of chopping some of these green onions. Actually, now I think about it, I think I might actually do that. Not necessarily right now, per se, but I mean, I think I need to clean this up a bit. In terms of, like, yeah. Chop them down and let them come back again, right? As a fresh stalk. Yeah, stalk. That's what I'm looking for. I see. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what Billy said. Yeah. I just couldn't find the words. I couldn't find the words there. But yeah, what Billy said. Oh, I forgot one little piece here that I didn't add to that pile. I was just like, I knew I had another one, and I'm like, did I break it apart already? And I'm like, no, it was off the side here, so I'm just gonna do this real quick here. As much as possible. And hopefully, it'll be worth it in the long run, right? Basically, I'm doing this for the long term. For the long term. That's why I've been trying to maintain doing this as much as possible. Chop and drop and stuff like that. As much as possible. So hopefully I wouldn't have to supplement in something, right? And this, I'm not talking just any, I mean, organic, natural, or synthetic, alright? Honestly, this is more, natural. Organic, whatever you want to call it. Let's break more of this apart here. Like I said, I'm just using my hands for this. Not even using any tools, like a cutting tool or whatever, right? It's increasing the surface area. I mean, I'll probably use an actual tool eventually, but for right now, I just need to get into a nice, manageable amount. I mean, even earlier this year, right? It's November. Well, the end almost. Well, pretty much the end of November now, right? You know, a couple more days. Monday, Cyber Monday's the first of the month, right? December. So yeah, pretty much the end of the month. All of this month and last month, right? I showed some chop and drop up some leaves, right? I mean, even just the month, I've started to notice something, right? And also as time goes on, the stuff I've added in will start to break down more and more and become smaller and smaller, and soon in time be biologically available to, let's say, the plants that I have in there, whatever it is at that time, right? Maybe it's like a squash, maybe it could be sunflower, right? And hopefully it will add to the fertility of the ground, alright? If that makes any sense. Oh my gosh, she's here! Oh my gosh! Hi! I haven't seen you for a while. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is Mia. I knew it. I just had to look at the icon and just like, I haven't seen you for like forever. And to think, I just saw Goldfish Office last night on her stream. I just had to take a look. I just like, yeah. Just to make sure, I was just like, yeah, that is it. I can see it in the icon, barely, but I can see the MIA. Oh, hey, I guess you were missing in action, hey? Oh, wait, that's your name. I'm sorry, I had to say that. That's like a bad joke right there. Yeah, Bill, yeah, you're welcome, man. But yeah, like I said, I'm just adding more to this, like I said. A little bit more. So I'll increase the surface area. I basically now, like, just kind of, like, broadcast it out there. Really. Just, like, coffee grounds and just broadcast it out. I mean, you can see I'm slowly adding more into it. Remember? Yeah, I'm missing in action words. I gotta tell Goldfish, seriously, I gotta take another screenshot, everyone. Screenshot right here, I'll share it with Goldfish Office. I'll be like, guess who I saw today? She'll be like, who? She'll be like, really? I'll be like, yeah, for real. I got a screenshot. You can check out the replay on the stream. Right? It's so nice to see you again, by the way, Mia. Yeah. But yeah. Alright, Bill. As I slowly work this. Like, I can start using tools now to increase the surface area of anyway. Because just kind of breaking apart while I'm talking here. Get a few things done. Like I said, this is like Friday with me, right? So no specific topic or whatever. I'm jumping around or whatever, right? Like, I'm actually even winging it to a certain degree, right? To a certain degree. Alright? So there's no real... Yeah. Maybe I should take another screenshot and show that instead. Aww. Well, it's been that long. It's been that long, right? I mean, I'm still in contact with Goldfish Office. I mean, I just saw her on her live stream last night, like aka Thursday, the night before. So she was sharing a few things too on her own, and I had a conversation. Well, side check type of conversation and all that stuff, right? I was only in there for maybe 45 minutes because I had to attend something at the top of that hour. Among some other things I had to take care of, but yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate you dropping by me. See, look at this. Oh, from doing a stream kind of more randomly, impromptu, to, oh, look, I get to see people. I've noticed that every so often when I do these impromptu streams, not all the time, but I get to see someone that I haven't seen for a long time drop by. I was just like, so, I mean, maybe it's the timing, right? Because if you don't go live or don't shoot a video or post something, well, there's nothing there for someone to say something about, right? You know what I mean? What's up, bestie? How's it going, Scott? He's like, wait, what? Hey, you just showed up, right, Scott? You just showed up, man. How's it going, man? How's it out there for you? You getting ready for that? You're probably getting ready a couple of things for your kind of, quote unquote, outdoor trip. All right. Since you're gonna be considering this as a winter thing, so I was talking about it earlier. I mean, I could show it again outside, but let's just say I got enough out there that I can stand the shovel on its own. Straight up. Right? That's how much I got. Enough for that to happen. That's how I usually start gauging it. Alright? Because if I can't do that, then there was not that much precipitation. Right? But if it at least does that, and it does it easily, I'll be like, well, that's enough that happened, right? You know what I mean? A tent stove. Yeah. I mean, I can go back out there and show some more again, alright? I was out there earlier, pushing it to the side, really. I'll scoop it up, I'll pick it up at the end, kind of deal. That's usually how I do it now. Usually. Because usually it's easier to push than to lift snow. And you usually use less energy and, and stuff like that. Also, lift with your legs, lift with your knee, and, with your legs, not with your back, yeah. Stuff like that. That's important too. That's important too. I think the last thing I ever want is to throw out my back or have some sort of back pain from shoveling. Especially if I'm doing it for a while, right? I don't want to injure myself. I mean, something like back pain, right? It's just kind of
you feel it all the time kind of deal, right? Unless you're in a lay down position or whatever, right? And sometimes it can take a bit to kind of get back into a normal state again. Oh, I see, Scone. Wow, a full, a full foot. That's not quite. Well, it's about the size of a ruler. Remember, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, so 10 times 2.54 centimeters equals 25 centimeters. That's almost the size of like a ruler, right? You know that ruler that you might have had in school? Yeah. you might have you it would sink below the surface, right? Or be barely sticking out, right? If you didn't use a tape measure, for example, right? That's where like I gauge it, right? Like I said, like can I stand my shovel in it after I scoop it a little, right? Or even on its own without even gathering the snow together, kind of deal on like fresh snow, right? Undisturbed pile, undisturbed area, right? Then it's just like, is it more than a ruler? And then I go after that, it's like knee height, waist height, right? And then so forth and so forth. I mean, I've seen snowbanks around here where they're so freaking tall that you can't see people on the sidewalk. All right, where if you were driving or even walking, you gotta be careful, right? I mean, like if you think about in terms of a driver, it doesn't matter if it's car, truck, whatever, van or company or business related, Amazon, blah blah blah, all this mail service, blah blah, right? And it doesn't matter how tall, quote unquote, tall you are, right? If you cannot see the driver and the driver cannot see you, that means you don't see it, right? You're you're reacting, right? But if you can see it, then at least you can be like, okay, let me slow down. Okay, I'll let the car go by or whatever, right? You know, because there's been times where like the snowbank's so tall, it's like people height, right? Or like you barely see the top of their head, or especially someone that's uh, shorter, for example, right? Very important too, right? Because let's just say it's like someone attending school or whatever, right? And that's probably the last thing you want happening, right? Ruin your day. It could be on Monday, right, or whatever, right? Because I know people. I've seen people that will actually like slow down around like a corner because they cannot see over the snowbank, right? Just to make sure that no one's just randomly walking or whatever, right? Or someone that's walking their dog or something like that. Obviously, people would hear and all that stuff like that. I mean, like, I've seen it, right? I'm just like, yeah, because people can't see, right? If you can't see where you're going, you know what I mean? You mean 62? I thought it was 0.62 miles per kilometer. I mean, yeah, six. Let me say, yeah, point. Let me say this again. 0.62 miles per kilometer. Sorry, I was thinking 6.2 miles per 10 kilometers, but it's the same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Yeah, at the end. 34, 93 Fahrenheit. Yeah. Hey, can you spare some of that heat? Can you spare some of that heat? I'll meet you in the middle, right? Even if I met you in the middle, it'd be like, what? It's like, let's say minus 10 here, 54. That'd be like, what? 44 Celsius difference. I'll meet you at I'll meet you at 19 Celsius, 68 Fahrenheit. I'll meet you in the middle on that. She'll be like, yeah. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, you've been doing that, SD? Yeah. I mean, just so I mean, it's just knowledge, right? Just increase the knowledge. Like, the only reason why I'm getting better at it is because I have to use the numbers, and I'm seeing the numbers, right? So, like, I'm kind of rounding it off, so to speak, more or less, right? I mean, obviously, if it was like I needed precision, then it'd be like I can round it up to the whole number, right? I don't need these decimal positions, right, for precision or accuracy that much, right? It's just a relative thing for me, right? It'd be different if I was like specifically doing something that has to be at a specific temperature, whatever, right? Kind of deal. And now that almost forgot about my coffee. Oh. Like I said, I will show you guys once again. Because Mia and Scott are here. I've already seen this, but let me. Yeah. That's how much. Really? I didn't realize you've been in Manitoba before. Winnipeg before. I've never been on the ground on that area. I've flown over, but that doesn't count, right? That's like saying being at the airport doesn't count. Being in the town or city or whatever, right? But yeah. See, my shovel's standing up on its own. All right. Like I said, I probably got maybe about 34 inches, give or take. I can see some structures that are kind of flat-ish. Not like a roof or whatever, but, like dome shape or whatever, like a table or whatever, I can tell. And, yeah, I know the snow's settling out a little, but yeah. We're looking at snow. I know that's foreign to you, Mia. I know it's kind of foreign to you, but it's the frozen white rain, as I call it. As I nicely call it, alright? And call it like that. Yeah, that stuff, Mia. Straight up, it's that. I mean, even Goldfish Office was talking about. She has a video. She was talking about it, and I left a comment myself, right? And this is actually before I saw her stream, so I'm just like I kind of elaborated more when I actually was in that stream with her last night. Yeah, it's that much. Yeah, exactly, the S word. Don't use 4-letter S words. You mean no? I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about number 2. I'm talking about I'm talking about the weight stuff, right? I'm talking about the weight stuff, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's not the winter solstice here yet either, right? That's next month, right? But you guys are entering into more this late spring. Well, here in the northern hemisphere, it's kind of like late fall for a lot of people. Early winter. Well, for me, it feels more like winter. It doesn't feel like fall. It definitely doesn't feel like that. Like, I'll show you guys. Like, look, you can see that. Like, look at it. See? That surface is darker. It will melt, but it's solidifying out. Freezing out. Yeah. An icicle right there. And I didn't even notice it early today or yesterday, right? So it must have been just doing it. I just noticed it right now. Even though I've been out here earlier. And like I said, it's below freezing. The temperature hasn't reached above freezing, right? But the thing is, the snow's kind of melting because the sun, the surface that's on, right? That microclimate. Let's see, what time is it?
I gotta check. Wow, I will almost had this for 2 hours. We'll go a little bit longer. Why not? Why not? You know, I got my boots out, my winter boots out already, and stuff like that. To have them sitting on a rubber mat right now, you know, something similar that you might have in your vehicle, right? Just so the water doesn't seep in, right? For example, I might actually have to lift the rubber mat and like remove the water or dump the water, that excess fresh water outside, right? I try to stop my feet and stuff like that whenever possible, right? To not track snow in, because obviously if you track snow in, it's not melt, right? And I don't want it melting onto the carpet or something like that. So you know, I put my boots, shoes, whatever on a rubber mat, for example. But sometimes snow sticks to your shoes or boots to a certain degree, right? And you're tracking it in and stuff like that. So I try to avoid that. And besides, I don't want to step on the carpet and it's like this wet spot. And now my sock's wet, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're going back outside afterwards, right? Having a wet foot or dampness on your sock and going back outside when it's like a little freezing and you gotta shovel the snow. Yeah, not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Oh wow, like I said, I didn't realize you've been here in Canada before, Scott. But yeah, I mean, other people have too. I mean, I've technically been in the U.S. once, right? Not out east, but out west here. But yeah, it's nice. I just still remember, and it's been a while. It's definitely been a while, but I still remember that. Right? Like I had to kind of get used to like converting, right? And just like Fahrenheit, inches, and so forth, right? Miles, right? And stuff like that. So I was just like in places where it was like 95 Fahrenheit, right? Or it felt like it, right? Kind of deal. Because it's just over the summertime. Yeah. I mean, I was with other people, right? So it's just like they were asking, it's like, what is that in Celsius, Sierra? I'm like, it's that much. I'm like, oh, and they're like, oh, okay, right? Because they could see the news or the Weather Channel or whatever, right? And stuff like that. Really? Really, Mia? That's so cool. Yeah, consistent around that 60 Fahrenheit, 16 Celsius range, yeah. Oh, that's kind of funny. I feel like I could almost picture it while like play it in my mind. Right? Some like powdered snow just coming off on the side on the back end as you like do donuts or it's like I'm doing mini drift. I'm doing a mini drift. It's just like that open control slide out right on your back end of a vehicle or anything with wheels really, right? You know, technically you can do slide out like that on a bike, right? Or on a tricycle, not tricycle, on something like that. Oh, I see. I see, Scott. I see. Guess I'll show this again for like almost like feels like the fourth time, but whatever. I've had different people drop in, but let me move this stuff off to the side here on my table. Yeah. That's cool, Mia. Yeah, I'll show you guys this. Once again. Oh. Focus. See? Microgreens. Sunflower version. I have another one that's more developed than this. This is about 3 days old, about 72 hours. I started this on Tuesday. It's Friday right now. Black Friday, but yeah, I started this about 72 hours ago. It'll still be some time, right? But yeah, it's developing nicely. Why am I not surprised, Scott? Why am I not surprised, dude? Of course. It wasn't the first time, right? You've had experience in it. But yeah, I'm growing this out like food. I mean, I got this other one that's like, the stalks on it are like almost 4 times as tall. Maybe 3 or 4 times as tall, right? That batch is almost ready. But that I actually started like early last week. So, yeah. I'll probably make another batch. It's Friday. Maybe on the 2nd or the 3rd, which may be Tuesday or Wednesday, and make another batch, right? And stuff. And go from there. You can see the roots at the bottom, right? I gotta put this back where I had it. And check on the actually, since I'm at this, maybe I'll check my first batch here real quick here. I have on the same tray just to see how this is going. Oh, this is... Oh, yeah. The first batch I probably can consume by, like, Monday, if I really wanted to. It's almost at that state. It's ready. You know? Obviously, I'll rinse off the dirt that I'm using, the medium I'm using, but yeah. Like... you know, it's more than 10 centimeters. It's more that long. I'm just kind of delaying it a little bit here. I can speed up the process to a certain degree, but I'm just slowing it down until I'm ready. It's almost ready, though. It's almost ready. Just checking on the surface, making sure there's enough moisture in there. And basically, what I'm doing here, like, because I have it right next to it, I'm basically using this. See? You guys can see me. This is technically, and I say technically, rainwater. I didn't actually melt the snow for this, by the way. It's actually liquid rainwater when it originally formed, right? This is back before this all happened. Right, before my first live stream for this month, right? I've just had it for a bit. Because we got some rain before this cold came in, so I managed to store up, use some of this rainwater, technically. How long does it take? I mean, it's about 10 to 14 days for something like that. Give or take, right? Give or take. I mean, it doesn't... Like, I got it to germinate or to start growing a root, and I'm, like, within, like, 24 to 36 hours, right? And I didn't even soak the seeds in water, right? Sometimes I've done that before, if I'm growing them outside or whatever, or in a container, but I didn't even have to really do that. Basically, I just added in some water, right? But it would sit at the surface for a little bit and slowly get absorbed by the growing medium that I'm using here, right? So, and just kind of let it do its thing. And the next thing I know, I'm just like, oh, I can see the roots. And now, like, it's sprouting, it's growing, right? It's starting to get some height to it. So, can't wait to have another batch of it. I mean, another batch. Consume the first batch. I just don't know what I'm gonna make with it. I know yesterday when I was doing a live stream and talking about it too, like someone's just, it's like, stir fry, stir fry, right? And I'm like, well, maybe. I mean, like, the container that I have it in, it's almost enough to make a serving. At least half a serving, right? And I would consider it like vegetable matter, right? Because it is really, right? So everything I usually would get out of that, right? And there's some green in there too. No, I'm not familiar with that channel, Scott. You know how many channels there is out there?
where I'm like, I swear my subscription fee would just be like full all the time, right? All the time. This is why like I've said to people, there's the reason why I don't have notifications on for any of the channels is because if I actually turn them on, and I'll say if they actually work, I would be notified. Yes, I would be notified all the time, but that also means I have to clear the notifications all the time, right? And stuff like that. So basically now it's just like I I keep tabs on like if they are more consistently doing a live stream, like let's say on a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, for example, at a certain time, right? That's usually how I go about it, and you know, and like I've said before, sometimes those notifications don't work for some people, as they say, right? So what the best notification is? Keep refreshing your subscription feed until you see a video or someone go live or do a premiere or something scheduled, right? Because that's how I do it now, right? I just keep refreshing until I see it, right? If I'm there, right? Kind of deal, right? Like even yesterday, for example, I was just like, oh, I didn't know they were gonna be going live, right? They must have sent out the notification or schedule, let's say within a half an hour or 45 minutes before the stream started, right? I was just refreshing my subscription feed because I was seeing if someone else is gonna be live, right? Who's God knows who yesterday, who wasn't live yesterday, right? Obviously because it was Thanksgiving in the U.S. But I was just like, oh, look at that. On the bright side, I get to see someone else, right? And drop in on one of their streams for a little bit, who Mia knows, right? And it's just like, okay, right? You know? Hey, remember me, and everyone out there. We're in a public space right now, right? I have the live chat obviously available, and I'm pretty sure I have the replay of the side chat available too, right? This is a public video or stream, right? So like if you think about it like that, and you taking a screenshot of it, or whatever is okay, right? It's in the public space, right? Now, if this was, let's say, unlisted, a members only, private video, whatever, something along the lines of that, right? That might be different, right? Because it's not, that is considered not in a public space anymore. There's this, if you know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Fire it up Friday. Yeah. Yeah. Speak of that, Scott, I've been trying something out here. Because it reminds me. I tried out another sample yesterday, right? Just something I've been trying out, something I'm reusing, right? I was just like, hey, this ain't so bad. I mean, it is related to fire, but I was just like, this ain't so bad. Well, not only that, it actually, like, for the most part, consumed it all down to ash, right? So, like, I'm getting, like, adequate airflow for the combustion process of it, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, this ain't so bad. And it's just something I got for free, right? Not the way to start it, but the vessel or container to kind of hold it, right? Because it allows some airflow to in still, right? I was just like, wow, this is, and just taking something common. I was like, wow, this is going for like 5 minutes. It's converting that biomass, so to speak, right? Natural stuff into like light and heat, right? And it's able to, go through the whole combustion process of it, right? Right, almost down to ash. Almost, not quite, but where it's like very efficient, I guess, right? Versus, just a bunch of smoke. Yeah. Yeah, full burn, yeah. Because I've realized that more and more as I go about it, right? Because usually, especially let's say a campfire or wherever, right? You know, for the most part, unless there's like a bunch of mosquitoes, bugs around, right? Usually people are doing it for the heat or the light source, all right? I mean, if there's a bunch of mosquitoes around or whatever, yeah, I guess you want that extra smoking around to kind of drive the bugs away from your area, right, and stuff like that. But generally, let's say if you're going camping, you're doing it for the heat source. Not necessary to always stay warm, but it could be as simple as, oh, we want to cook some hot dogs, open fire, a skewer, a stick, right, or marshmallows, or make s'mores or whatever, right? So I remember early on before September, because this is like before Labor Day, right? I think it's technically like on the last day of August, or maybe the 1st of September or 2nd, where I just attended something, right? And they had a little, and I say little, it wasn't that big, campfire, right? I actually have a picture of it. I just never posted it or shared it with anyone, right? But basically, hot dogs, s'mores, or marshmallows, right? I mean, at times, at times I just like, because it's happened twice this year to me. I'm like, man, I wish because I'm already at the place or at the location, right? But I'm just like, man, I should have brought my charts in, right? And utilize this quote unquote campfire or whatever, right, to make more charcoal off or char punk wood or whatever, right? Use a piece of jeans or denim to making it, right? And get that resource, right? Because charcoal for char punk wood or char material is actually more useful than I realize or give it credit for at times, right? There's something else I'm trying out too, right? Off the way. I might actually try it over this winter again. Something else I've been trying out. Because it has some certain characteristics to it. They're a little bit different. So I'll have to see. I did try it this one year. It's been a while since I've done it, but it's just something I've been trying, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's one of these things where I'm like, this could be more useful than I think. I mean, it's nothing special or like revolutionary or even new, right? I mean, it actually has technically, supposedly, existed or been done in like medieval times and before the age of electricity, right, and stuff like that. The light bulb, the incandescent light bulb, all that stuff, right? It transcends all that kind of stuff. I mean, so basically, I'm just bringing it back into modern days, right? But the thing is, I have to create the char material, right? And I don't like to make char cloth or char punk wood or char cloth using, let's say, butane or propane, right? I usually try to make char material from a pre-existing fire source, especially like a campfire, right? So if I'm going camping or anything like that, right, and I kind of know it's not happening, I will bring it, right? Because if it's already there, right, I'm basically just using that heat source right there, right? We are already planning or doing it or will be doing it anyways, right? So I'm just bringing something to a little tin that fits in my pocket and make some more char cloth, right, while I'm at it, right? Yeah. Yeah, that too, right? Because it can easily take a spark or a heat source fairly easily, right? Because it's basically a swatch or a lump, if it's punk wood, of carbon, right? And obviously, it readily, once you add enough heat in to start the chemical reaction of it, because obviously fire is a chemical reaction, it combines with air, and next thing you know, it releases heat that you can put into a tinder bundle or bird's nest and blow it in the flame, for example, right? But there is some other uses, right? I have actually done some other things with it, with char punk wood or char cloth, right? Besides just blowing it into flame, right? Besides that. Besides that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I could have told you that, SD. I could have told you that on that one. Hmm. I see, Mia. Oh, you made one of those alcohol stones? Energy drink? Yeah, okay, cool, cool. I've actually been considering that. I've seen the videos for it. I've actually been considering that now. Making something like that. I know it's not that difficult, but, you know, easier said than easier said than done, right? So, 'cause I usually use cans for something else, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've made you know, mini rocket stove. Well, I shouldn't say mini, but a rocket stove or hobo stove, whatever, right? But an alcohol stove is slightly different, slightly, right? However, with that said, I do actually have a reason to want to do it though, or at least create one, or at least make a prototype, right? Yeah, I figured that much. Yeah, yeah. Providing it's not wet, right? It's got the charcoal has to be dry. Right? Any moisture and it just like no, right? It's got to be dry. Right? Also, dry stuff can be heated up for combustion much faster than something wet. Because liquid water doesn't really support combustion all too well. Basically it pulls the heat out, right? It pulls the heat out, and if you're pulling the heat out of, let's say, a fire, well, you're toppling that fire triangle, right? So you're moving the heat source, for example. Hence water, for example, right? On wood that's burning. Yeah, let's not put it out, right? Although you don't want to put water on, let's say, grease version, right, of it, because that don't go well in terms of putting it out, right? Hence, stove or whatever you're making bacon catches or whatever, right? You know, I mean, for me, I always have a lid nearby. I always have a lid nearby when I'm cooking, right? Just in case if something like that happened, right? I can put a lid on it, suffocate it out, reduce the oxygen level, and hopefully it would go out. And also bring that outside right away, or so I don't like set off a smoke alarm or anything like that, or detector, right? I mean, I remember this one time, like a toaster oven. I had a friend, and I was at their place, right? They were heating up, I don't know, a burrito or taco, right? I'm just like, oh, I'm just like, do you smell that? He's like, yeah, yeah. Are you cooking it? Are you cooking something? He's like, yeah. And then we turn around the corner, right? Because we couldn't just quite see it, because it wasn't quite in line of sight. It was starting to smoke because it was burning, right? And the first thing I told my friend was like, "Don't open it, because you'll introduce more air into it, right? Almost like a flashover, right? But also on a small scale." And I said, "Unplug it, man. Bring it outside, right? Bring it outside, right? The last thing you want is to actually have something inside burning. That's not the toaster, right? Toaster oven or whatever, right? Something important to remember, right? Or not panic, so to speak, right? And be like, keep the lid closed, unplug it, bring it outside fast, right? Let it do its thing, right? Because at least outside, nothing else is gonna catch, right? I think that'd be the last thing. And also, like anything when you're cooking or whatever, anything with heat, really, right? Or any fire source, really. I mean, like heat source like that. Don't leave it unattended, right? It's just like the candle thing, right? Don't leave it unattended, kind of deal. If you're away or you're gonna be out of the room, you turn it off, kind of deal, right? And not be complacent about, oh, you'll be fine or whatever, right? I mean, like if you're simmering or whatever, that's one thing, or I'm really low heat. But if you're actually cooking something, right? You know what I mean? On the stove or whatever, and it's not something like, like let's just say like
instant pot or a crock pot or anything like that. That generally it's quite safe to leave alone, right? But I'm talking about you're cooking bacon, you're cooking like something like that, right? Where there's grease or whatever, and there's heat, right? Yeah, you probably don't want to leave that unattended, in my opinion. Scott. Well, you use that also. I see. I see. No, Scott. The reason I was saying about the alcohol stove is because I may have something that can work with it too, and that's just the core aspect, the core components of it, but something else that might help. Something I had for well, I'm repurposing. Let's just say I've seen some good results, and it was just something simple, right? And the thing is, I'm reusing it, right? Like it could be scrap technically, but it's probably it's the same thing like how said that I would reuse earlier because both of you weren't in here. Like a piece of material to make a piece of clothing, like keeping the clothing option as a clothing option versus cutting it into strips or using it like a rag, right? Because I could still do that after the fact, but once I cut it into ranks, it's kind of hard to, well, really, I don't want to sew it back together to make a sheet or whatever out of, right? So I'd rather do it like that. So I'm not quite upcycling it, but it's kind of on par. And then afterwards, I can still downcycle it, change it back and change it to a rag, right? But it's kind of hard to bring a rag back into like a shirt state, for example, because you've already cut it, right? Yeah, you can sew it together, but or whatever, but you still have a seam line. You still have, a cut in it, right? Even though you patched it up or sewed it together, and yeah, it will have some strength, but it won't be as strong as before you cut it, right? And that makes any sense. That's why I'm always like, yeah, I try not to like overly cut something if I don't have to, because it's just like woodworking or anything like that. It's you can always remove more material off of it, but you can't remove you can't you. But it's hard to put material back into it, right? Like a project, like a wood project or whatever, right? That's why you just do enough, right? Because you can't put the wood back on, or at least not very easily, right? Let's say you're carving a spoon or a handle or anything like that. You know, it could be even something to baton with, like, for example, right? You make a wooden baton for like your camping trip that you're on, right? You're out bushcrafting or whatever, enjoying the woods or whatever outdoor activities like that, right? So, I mean, I've shown making one before. Unfortunately, I don't have that one anymore, but I can do it again. It wasn't that difficult. Oh, and by the way, I did use some charcloth or charplank wood during that video, if I remember right. Yes. Yeah, yeah, measure twice, yeah. Exactly, right. That's why I know better. I know better. Because it's like, it always kind of sucks when you're like, it's not long enough or big enough and, or whatever, right? It's just like, oh, right? Because, like, if you're like let's just say a quarter of an inch or whatever, even a 16th of an inch or like 1 centimeter too long, like you can trim that back. You can file it down, sand it down to make it fit better, right? But if it's too short or too narrow or whatever, then you got this gap that you're trying to figure out how to fill back in, all right? For example, especially if you're trying to put something on the top of a table or make something like that. If it's too short, well, it's too short. Right? If it's too long, you can still size it down. You can still remove material, but you can't remove you can always remove material, but it's hard to put some back at times, right? In a way that is actually still structurally sound, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, that. Thanks for sharing that. I tried to make that go, and that didn't turn out so well. Yeah. You know what's kind of funny? I'm talking about it, so to speak, to a little degree about woodworking or whatever, right? By the way, I got a video at the top of the hour. It's a very short video, by the way. I've done it for it's a couple months old now, but yeah, I got it at the top of the hour. By the way, so you can see something like that. Basically, no, actually, I'm not gonna say it, but basically, you can see what I put together. And there is a tip in there that I used, that I kept in mind when I was originally putting something together. But yeah. Yeah, it's harder to add it on. Right? It's harder to add it on. Because it doesn't have the same structural integrity. Right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's glues, adhesives, tapes, and all that stuff, but, you know, yeah, I'm just saying in general. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Speaking of which, my device fell back down to 25. I gotta make sure I'm charging. I just sat down somewhere else for a little bit. I'm like looking at my display. I'm like, oh, 25. I better plug it in again. I see, Mia. I see. Yeah, I mean, there's these other things I've been trying out too. I'm like, or that are new to me, anyways, right? Just out there, I'm like, well, you know what? I already get the supply, those resources. All I got to do is put it together, or, you know what I mean? It could be cooking, it could be woodcrafting or whatever. But I'm like, you know what? I could do this. I could actually make this, right? I got the resources on hand, right? At home right now or whatever, right? And I could do it. And I'm like, and try it out, right? And be like, huh, that wasn't so difficult, right? Because sometimes it's just like it's a prototype or whatever, right? And it's like, it makes me want to do it again, right? Kind of deal, because I tried it once and I've seen how useful it is, right? Or handy it is, or whatever, or let's just say if it's something about food, how good it tastes, or how nice it is, or how long it can last, or whatever, right? I'm just like, man, I gotta do this again. I gotta deal, right? I gotta like it. It wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that difficult, right? You know, it's not rocket science, right? It's not rocket science. It's not like I'm doing that, right? This is totally achievable. I just have to apply that, right? And not just watch videos out there, right? Watch for that knowledge, the gear and the skill, but actually apply that knowledge in the skill with said gear or resources as much as possible. So, for example, like I've shown in the past now, right? There's videos to show it, right? Where, you know, not just having a glove or a mitt, but actually putting one together. Okay, I haven't put the glove together, but I put a mitt together anyways, right? It's a start, right? It's a start, but I learned so much from that, and I applied the sewing skills with reclaimed, reused material and repurposed it, right? And I got a lot more out of it, right? And there's a lot of reasons that I enjoyed it when I was doing it. Not only because I was repurposing main content from the channel, right? It was actually physically useful too, but that doesn't end up in the landfill, and it's back in the useful state again, right? Versus what it originally was at that time, right? If that makes any sense. Yeah, right. I mean, there's far more difficult things to kind of do at times, right? I'm just like, you know, it's not like I'm doing tech support, right? Where it's just like very technical or whatever, right? It's not so difficult. I just have to apply it, do it, right? Maybe the first time the prototype whatever takes a little bit more time because that's the first time you're still figuring out the bugs, as they say in the tech community, right? But afterwards, you're like, oh yeah, it becomes second nature or easier the second time around because you've done it before. You're not making the same mistakes like you did the first time or going as slow as the first time, right? You know, you can be like, oh yes, like for example, if it was sewing, for example, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta remember next time I do this, or which maybe right now, for example, hypothetically speaking, okay, I'm gonna make the stitching tighter because the last time I tried this, I made this the stitching too not loose, but the spacing was too wide, for example, right? Where if I did tighter stitching, tighter type of back stitching, it might look better, and also there's more holding it together, right? It'll be tighter, maybe even stronger, so to speak, right? Because there's more areas that are looped around, and the material is kind of coming together with the cordage in terms of thread or whatever that I'm using at that time. So yeah, I've known some of you for a while. Some of you I've talked to, so. And I'm not just talking in a public space. Sometimes privately too, right? Because I know sometimes, like, I'll hold my tongue back. I don't say everything publicly, right? That's just the way it is, right? But sometimes I'm a little bit more open in a private space, just because, you know, not that openly, but you know what I mean, kind of thing. Alrighty then, let's see here. How long? Well, you know what? I might as well go to the top of the hour now. I might as well end it at the 3 hour mark. It'll be exactly. I'll end the stream when I end the stream. There'll be a video available on the channel because it's Friday. So I'm pretty sure I scheduled it for the top of the hour and not for this hour. I'm pretty sure. Usually, I have the consistency of scheduling the videos on Friday for the top of the hour right now. So 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and everywhere in between. So basically half an hour from now, right? And I'm just like, okay. I've started to settle for that usually. Sometimes I may flex the schedule like an hour before, an hour later, maybe later in the evening, or maybe even a bonus video for the week on Sunday, for example, right? But usually my schedule now is 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, generally speaking. Alright? I just kind of like that time. It's just easier too. And usually let's say if it was a premiere or whatever, I'm usually around to kind of see it. Jump in and, you know, communicate in the side chat if there's people in the side chat. For example, if I did a premiere, for example, right? I haven't done a premiere for a while. I was like a week and I was just like, you know, it's funny. I used to see them more often when they were newer. The concept was newer. Now I haven't seen a premiere for a while. For a while, actually. Alright. And I haven't done one for a while, too. I think it's been over a year. I think it's because, for me, the criteria for if I want to do premiere is that it's got to be long enough. It's got to be long enough. I am not premiering a 2-minute video, 3-minute video, maybe even a 4 or 5-minute video. It's got usually now, and it's got to be something special too, right? Because I don't want to just premiere everything, right? Because then people will be like, okay, here's that again. And not only that, if it's a premiere, I want to be actually in there, right? In the side chat, right? Not miss my own premiere, right? Because especially if there's people on the side chat, right? They might want to ask questions or whatever and be like, where's the host, right? You know what I mean? And I get it, some people have missed their own premieres or whatever, right? But if you're premiering, like, video after video and you're not there too, it's just like, well, I might as well just wait for it to be, like, public, right? Because, you know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah? That's cool, Mia. That's cool. So, yeah. So, I keep doing what we've been doing. as much as possible, and start to. What I'll probably do. See, I'm not gonna say this here, because it'll make me accountable, and since I've said it in a public space now to people, I'm like, well, I gotta do it now. I already said it publicly. I gotta hold my word on it, right? And not just like in my mind say it, right? But yeah, I think I will record a video this evening today later. If not today, then it will be tomorrow. One of the two, or the weekend. I'll start off with one of the simpler videos that I can do. I mean, I have some videos that I have in mind, like projects or whatever, but they'll take longer, right? The DIY projects videos always take me longer, not just because they're physically longer, but they take longer to do, right? It's not like a video, like if I was showing like some sort of bag or whatever, some sort of get home bag or go bag, whatever, I mean, like, it relatively speaks for itself, right? It relatively speaks for itself. I mean, like, I just have to, like, describe and maybe show some B-roll using it or whatever, right? But if I'm doing a DIY, I gotta do it in a certain way, and it takes more time to do, right? Because I have to set it up. I actually have to physically put it together, right? It's nothing like a bag or whatever with content, with gear inside that it's like, it's pretty self-explanatory, generally speaking, right? You know? Here's the lighter, right? It's a source of flame, but it can create sparks, right? Here's a ferrocene rod that can generate sparks, right? Here's a mile-wide space plate. Here's a pillow, you know, those kind of things. Here's the water bottle. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself, right? But if I'm explaining like a DIY or whatever, putting something together, I want to show you guys that I'm doing it, right? And so a couple, because it's got to be step by step, right? To a certain degree, right? You know, I can't just physically just jump to the end, right? You guys could if you really wanted to, but I can't. I gotta do that. I gotta do it in real time, kind of deal, right? I gotta take the time to sew it or whatever, hand sew it or whatever, and do bunch of back stitches. Take care, Scott. It's nice of you to drop by, man. I know I'll see you later in the week, not over the weekend or whatever. Maybe even tonight. I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, that's why a lot of the time the DIY project I do over the winter time. Because I'm a little bit more busy during the summertime. Oh, I mean, it's nicer out too, right? And gardening, right? Also, not gardening right now, except for indoor stuff, so. Aside from the shoveling of the snow, you know, and amongst my little things, you know, I got a little bit more of that time to do the DIY projects. Right. That's why you might, like, even this year, right? Or back in January, February, and March, right? You saw a lot of DIY, me putting things together, which was basically sewing. I think I had like 5 or 6 sewing videos, right? Different things, right? This year, this coming up winter season, right? I have at least 2 in mind. I haven't started recording it. I have the resource, but I have to, quote unquote, do it, process it, you know, and stitch it all together, kind of deal, right? And obviously, I got to stitch the content together, right? Because sometimes I'm not doing it all at once or on the same day, right? So I actually break it into manageable parts, right? Just so, like, it gives me time to kind of recuperate and whatever, right? Or I gotta do other things, right? So it's like I can only do part of it right now, right? So I'm doing like what's it called? If it was sewing, I'd be like, I'm doing the first layer of stitching, right? Next day, I'm doing the second layer of stitching. The third day, I'm finishing the finalized kind of stitching that I'm doing to kind of put it all together, right? And maybe on the 4th day, oh, look, I'm adding some trimming on the cuff or on the edge or whatever, something like that, right? And go from there, right? And this is why I've been, like, trying to schedule stuff, right? Because it gives me that time that I may need later, right? So if I want to do something else or whatever, like I've said before, if I want to go on vacation, maybe visit some people or whatever, do a live stream or visit other people, I can still do that, yet still have content available, right? But with that said, if I just if I blow through all the buffer zone of videos, well, then I'm back at square one, right? So, because even right now, I mean, I've only actually, well, technically I shot 2 videos this month, right? One of them you may have already seen because I decided to post it right away, right? But this other one, you're not gonna see it till like next month now, right? Well, obviously because we're at the end of the month, and I already told you guys it's not gonna be the video for today, this Friday, like today, right? So in a half an hour, 40 minutes from now, 20 minutes from now. So that's why I do it like that. But yeah, there's some things that I have in mind. Like, I'm just trying to figure out like how I want to approach it. I'm like, what do I want to use as a hook in the beginning, right? Kind of deal, right? Because like I said, the DIY parts will probably are pretty self-explanatory, right? I just have to kind of explain why, either why I'm doing it in a certain way as part of the DIY, or why I'm doing this part first, right? And maybe some sort of hook in the beginning, quick 5-6 second type of hook, right? Whatever it is. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's serious, but just something to be like, ooh, here's a hook, right? You want to see the rest of the line? Well, stay tuned on this video, type of thing, right? Like that could almost be a hook in itself, right? Something like that. So, because I have this error video in mind that I can shoot. It wouldn't take me long. It's not really DIY, but it's basically applying some knowledge. And this one video I'm actually specifically talking about that I haven't recorded yet, right? It was on my original 2025 sheet of like list of ideas, right? So like it's been that one. It's because I had other content I wanted to show first, right? But I think I'll bring this one back in. I'll bring it in now, right? Like I've been actually using it for a while now, right? So when I show you guys it, you'll be like, oh, okay. Just something to keep in mind, and stuff like that. It's something to complement some other things, right? Or supplement some other things, right? It's not a replacement for something. It's more to complement the supplies, the resources to get, right? That's what it is. Aww. I appreciate that, Mia. Well, Mia, some of the videos are shorter, so check out the shorter videos first, right? Because then you can actually like get through that in a period of time, right? Some of the longer ones, or once you want to come back, or it's a DIY or whatever, you take a little bit more time to want to watch. If you want to learn about it, or follow along, or try it for yourself, or whatever, right? Yeah. I got you. I got you. I get you. I'm almost thinking of trying showing you guys again. Something. I did actually originally show it on like another live stream. Well, maybe I'll show it again. I've been actually thinking of doing a video on it. Well, we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do what I can here, right? Actually, to be really honest, I need to pick up. I feel like I need to pick up the slack a little bit more, to be honest. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I've shown a few things. I've done a few things, right? But there's some things that I really probably should do and set the time for, right? You know what I mean? Where I'm not just gonna watch a video. Well, if I'm recording it, I'm not watching a video, but maybe listening to music while I'm doing it or whatever, right? And just setting the time, an hour, 15 minutes to doing it, right? And just do it. I think it's a little bit easier for me once I actually can figure out how I want to approach this in terms of a plan, like a DIY video, or what I want to say or show, or some sort of joke, pun, hook, that kind of thing in as an intro, something. Because I'm coming up with something else, and just like even yesterday, I was just doing something, just watching something else or whatever, and some other things I've been doing or whatever, like cleaning dishes or whatever, right? Oh, showing snow too. I was just like thinking, I'm like trying to think of this hook, right? Because like the main part of the video will be self-explanatory. I just need something in the beginning to kind of hook into, right? And so like something like a dramatization of it, right? To kind of illustrate it, right? Simulate it, right? Something like that. Feel of it, right? Where people may be able to relate to it to a certain degree, right? So I have to see. But I have to wait. Because it's still daytime. It's a nighttime type of thing. But yeah, it's one of those type of videos for me that are gonna be like, yeah, I can add it. Now, where I schedule them, I don't know. We'll see. As I need the videos, also I need to put them in, right? But show them. But if I have a buffer zone, I may be able to like, shoot a video today, but you won't see it for half a year, kind of deal, right? Because it's more applicable later than right now, for example, right? I mean, for example, right now, right? And in this winter related stuff, yeah, I want to show now because I ain't showing that in April or May. For me, anyways, right? Because it's less applicable. Unless it actually is happening in, let's say, April, right? I mean, I've shown snow in April, right? But that's because it actually really happened, right? It wasn't something I recorded back in, like, November or December or January, right? No, this is today. Like, literally that same day or the day after kind of deal, right? Where I'll squeeze it in, right? It'll be a placeholder for another video. And the video I currently had at that Friday or whatever for the next video, I rearranged the schedule on it a little bit more. I actually checked the newer ones first, Mia. It's just so that way you're always going back, right? That way you don't miss anything current, right? Because I might have already talked about it in a more current video, like an update or something like that, But then again, if you want to see version 1 something, then see version 2 or, something like that, yeah, feel free to do it like that, right? Yeah. It's all good. So it's about 16 minutes, quarter to the top of the hour. So, like I said, I'll go to the top of the hour. And like I said, the top of the hour, I have a shorter, it's not shorts, but it's I was going to say small, but smaller duration video. I think that almost sounds better than saying a short video. Because it's not a shorts video, it's, technically like long form content, right? Or a standard video. But yeah, something very quick, right? Now, I've been debating on this thing I have to do something else, right? I've been debating on like shooting it as a live stream, and you guys see me do it in real time, so to speak, or do I want to just record it like a static type of video and where I edit the stuff a little bit more, right? So I'm debating on it because the thing is, it takes up some room, right? So I have to set up a camera in a certain way, right? Stuff like that. And of course, if it's live, well, you know how it is, right? You get a phone call whenever, something important, stuff like that, right? Versus if it was a static video, at least I could pause for a moment for 5 minutes, right? Take a break, right? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hearing that. That's all I hear around here on a day like this. It's just not necessarily snow blowers, but like like the those gas or electric type of blowers, right? That right, because they're revving them. If I can hear it again, like I said, it did snow, so I'm not surprised at hearing it around, right? It's just like hearing a shovel outside right now. I expect to hear that right now. Kind of deal. I expect to hear that, right? It's no surprise, right? Well, I guess that too, right? I mean, obviously you can ask in the comment section, right? But in the side chat or whatever, that's more real time or closer to real time, right? There's slight latency, right? Unless I have it on the ultra, where it's virtually no latency or no delay, right? But usually it's like what, that 20-30 second delay, right? Especially if you have normal latency, right? It's the difference between hearing me say what I'm saying right now, where if I went to a device that's playing the stream right now, it would take like 20 seconds before I hear myself. This is what I'm saying right now. Again, right? Because I've noticed that, right? That's the latency, right? Because there's a setting for it where you can make it so it's normal latency or something that's more closer to real-time interaction, right? Like, where the latency is low. Well, not necessarily the latency, but like the difference between me saying it right now versus hearing it on the stream on the side kind of deal, where it's like closer to real time and it's not that 20-30 second delay. So about 12 minutes here for me. Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably after the stream here, I'll probably have to, push some more to the side again. And pick up my piles that I have, right? Like, even around here, a lot of places, like in a shopping center, mall, parking lot, over, usually that's how it is. They pile it to the side and they'll slowly pick it back up, right? They just want to make sure that the space is more clear, right? For people to walk on, drive on, and stuff, right? So you can actually see the ground, right? And then they'll slowly either pick it up or put it off the corner of a lot, right? I've seen that countless times, right? Where the kids are playing in these huge, huge snowbanks, right? They're making their thing or whatever, right? I remember that when I was younger too, right? I don't do that now, obviously, but it's still fun. Like, I've seen it before, right? Especially in the wintertime, where I'm like dropping by past a parking lot or whatever. I'm just like, on the corner there's a big snow bank. They've been plowing the snow into a corner at the moment, right? Especially if they can't move it anywhere else, right? Or especially if there's a lot of it, right? You gotta put it somewhere, right? And obviously, these places are trying to keep the parking lot clear from snow so people can drive and, not slide on ice, not have to have, like, knee deep of snow or whatever, right? That kind of thing, right? Let's see here. I feel like I'm running. Usually I don't have, like, I usually have something to say, right? But now it feels like in those last 10 minutes here, I was just like, what do I talk about? I don't have a cheat sheet of things I can say, right? So I'm just gonna wing it, say it how it is, right? The real world kind of thing, right? Hence why I said I'm probably gonna be like moving some snow after this. Actually, I know I will. Like earlier today, this morning, I just kind of pushed it aside. I just have to finish off scooping it. And like I said about the parking lot example, I need to move into a different area where I can let it pile up, for example, right? And when it's not in the way of people walking or driving or moving around, right? Like an empty part of a lot, place, grass area, whatever, right? Because I know well, I guess I could say this too, right? There's a certain point where, like, I haven't shown it. I'm pretty sure I haven't shown it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't shown it, right? Where, for me, if the snow, like, okay, imagine a couple inches of snow, okay, right? You push it to the side, it ends up being a foot, right? Because you're gathering it together, right? You're piling it onto a snowbank, right? Well, that snowbank, yes, the snow will settle out, start to like compress under its own weight and settle out a little, right? So it'll lower, the height will be a little bit lower, right? Because there's being compressed out, well, not removed, but the snow is compressing, the water is compressing, and then the air escapes, right? So it becomes shorter, right? But as you add more onto it, right, the snowbank does grow. And what I've noticed is, like, for people at times, right, they put it in this nearest area, right, whatever it is, by the sidewalk, on the grass, on the lawn, whatever, right, something along the lines of that, right. One thing I've noticed is that there's a certain point where the snowbank is too steep. Like, if you think of something like an avalanche or whatever, right, it's because it can't hold the layers together, right? And because these layers are different because you're adding to it all the time, right? It's snowing, there may be layers underneath, right, where it slides out. But basically, if you think about it, if I'm adding snow and it's falling to the side, falling down back onto where I'm trying to shovel, right, it becomes more counterproductive, right? This is why every so often, I actually picked this up for my own dad, actually. And I keep it in mind is that if the snowbank is too steep, I start to level it back off, right? If that makes any sense. So the height doesn't, so you're spreading it across the surface area, the horizontal space, a little bit more. Because then you don't have this, like, 5 foot, 6 foot snowbank that's like so skinny, right? That barely, you can't even put snow back on top of it because it just slides off because the slope, like literally the angle, is too steep now, right? Because if you think about even a landfill, they actually, well, they do it for another reason, but they compress the stuff, right? It's kind of, and level it off, right? Kind of, because they don't want these big hills, because big hills, the top can't hold that much, right? It starts to slide, and honestly, you don't want something like that sliding into someone or burying whatever someone, right? If that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Because, yeah, that's something I keep in mind, right? Because there is a certain point where, like I said, because I've seen people, right, that are, like, lifting, like, their snowbank is, say, 3 or 4 foot tall, right? And I look, like, 5 feet over, and it's perfectly, like, there's no extra snow there that they haven't manually put in there, right? It was just naturally just dumped onto that surface, right? So basically, it's like a mountain or a hill with a valley, right? Well, you know what I mean? I'm gonna push said mountain or hill, aka the snowbank, over, right? And basically, all I do is just level my shovel and just push it, right? And push the snow into the center more, right? That way, the snowbank, I can add back to the snowbank again. And the other reason for this, and which I've explained to other people why I do it like this, is because if I'm knocking that, let's say, 1 or 2 foot off the top, right? And remember, I'm not lifting this, right? I'm just leveling it off. My shovel's on the ground, on the surface, flat on the surface, and I'm just pushing it, right? So that's not much effort because I'm not lifting it, right? But if you think about it, why always, if it just snowed again, you have a 3, 4, 5 foot snowbank, and you're trying to lift that 3, 4 foot high because you're trying to clear the snowbank area or that hill. Hopefully that makes sense, because it's just like, I always look at this like, the snowbank's like still like almost like chest height, right? And you're lifting that snow that high. And remember, when you're lifting snow without mechanical advantage, like a lever or anything like that, which I've shown, that's a lot more effort. And especially if it's wet snow. I mean, it's one thing if it's fluffy, that dry, powdery snow kind of feel, but if it's wet snow, that's gonna be heavy, and you're doing that all the time, right? If that makes any sense. Where for me, it's easier. I think less energy required if I just knock the snowbank down. That way, instead of lifting that extra 2-3 feet, I only have to, I don't have to do it like that. If that makes any sense, right? And you can get more snow onto, let's say, the grass or whatever, right? With it, and like I said, it doesn't, because the slope's not so steep. It can hold more too, right? It doesn't just fall back down to the sidewalk that you're trying to clear, or the driveway you're trying to clear, right? It almost seems like it would be counterproductive, right? You put some snow on and it feels like you didn't even do anything because it just fell back down, right? Onto that spot that you're trying to clear, right? Let's say a sidewalk, for example. Yeah, that's what you say now, but not until you get wet and it's like minus 30 out. Maybe not so much. And you're not dressed as well for it, right? Let's say ski pants, a jacket, with a shell or whatever, right? Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Mia. Because, I feel like, even with a snowblower, right? A snowblower can only kick the snow up that so high, right? You can only kick it up so high. Like even a multi-stage blower that has rotation at the top and be able to, like, kick it, push it, let's say 30 feet or whatever, right? There's a certain maximum height, right? I mean, I've seen people angle it or whatever. I'm just like... But what I've seen sometimes is people knock down the snowbank, maybe not with a shovel, but with their snowblower, right? If it's possible, right? Because another reason is, like, the taller the snowbank is, the longer it takes to melt. Right? Because if you think about it, if you increase the surface area, well, more sun, more heat can hit it. It can melt a little bit faster. No, maybe not dramatically faster, but it's just the same reason why, like, all the short amounts of snow banks melt faster than the steep, tall snow banks, right? Because there's physically more snow in that area, and there's less surface area exposed, right? Because obviously, ain't the snow on the inside doesn't see direct sunshine or direct heat until water flows through it or whatever, right? Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, I do have a video at this top of the hour, which is actually coming right away here. So this is gonna be my 2-minute warning on. Howie's here. Really? Howie's here. I just saw him last night. I like it how you just showed up with a. He's making his point clear that he's here. You see how I said that? Anyways, 2-minute warning here, or a few minute warning here. Yeah. Oh yeah. I see your. I get your point there, Howie. But yeah. So yeah. Well, I guess I can show this because Howie's here. And you might hear blowers, like I said, no equipment, right? I'll show you guys. Again. Yeah, I can hear it. And I'm not even outside. I can hear it. You're gonna hear this. Sorry. Oh. As soon as I come outside, then I'm using it. But yeah. Snow. Snow. Like I said to everyone, I gotta know that my shovel stands up on its own in the snowbank. Or developing of the snowbank, right? Some of this is scattered together, like, don't get me wrong, right? But I mean, I can show some spots that were not disturbed, and like, it's about, it's enough snow that if you put a standard regular sized big lighter, or lighter, like a disposable lighter or something like that, you wouldn't be able to see it. That's how tall it is. Like, it's taller than the height of that, for example, right? Like I could put a lighter in the snowbank standing up, it would disappear. Right? Because the snowbank's actually tall, or the snowpack is taller in height. Yes, frozen white rain. Like, yeah, and stuff like that. Oh, let me see here. See, I'll show you guys here. Since Howie's here. See? When I showed that other week, look at that. Right? I'm just adding some snow on top, so there's some moisture in there, right? As it melts and goes through the freeze and thaw cycle too, right? It'll start to break it apart through mechanical means, I guess, right? Versus biological means, right? If that makes any sense. Because if you think about it, like, when water freezes, it expands, right? So, like, it'll cause something to break. Right? That's why you don't put a full glass bottle of water in or whatever in the freezer, right? Because it will, because, you know, water expands when it freezes, so it'll cause it to, you know, break or burst or whatever, right? If that makes any sense. Yeah, that's cool. So anyways, everyone, that is the time now. Less than 30 seconds here. So I appreciate everyone dropping by on this live stream. There may be another live stream, maybe not necessarily on this Friday, unless for some reason I changed my mind. But there may be another one for this weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday or whatever. And there will be a couple more next week too that I'm planning on, or I want to anyways, right? Especially if I'm not recording some video and all that stuff, right? And I appreciate everyone dropping by. Yeah. Don't feel it all the way, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it, Mia. Appreciate it. It was nice to see you again. I'll definitely share that with Goldfish Office with her too. So, things are changing out there, everyone. More or less. Right? Not just the season, but some other things too, right? So we're gonna have to try to do something about it too and adapt. Because it is the way, right? You know? Things get through. Well, if you think about any animal out there, if they don't adapt, well, you know, that's it, right? So, like, that's why we need to, right? That skill and knowledge that you have, right? It gets better when you practice it. Try to apply it to different problems too, right? You know, such as, oh, look here, I can use this cordage over here, right? Oh, I can use this over here. Oh, my trunk's not closing all the way. I'm going to use some cordage and use a taut line hitch and keep it together. And I'll be able to undo that and reuse the cordage piece of paracord after or whatever, right? Or some quick release knot that you learn from a YouTube video or online or whatever, right? Some tutorial, and you're applying that knowledge to set a problem that you have in the real world, right? And it's actually applying it, right? And you're not gaining some experience because you're, you know what I mean? And when possible, try to help someone out there. I know you can't help everyone out there, literally. Try to help people that you can, all right? The best that you can with the resources that you do have available, all right? And until the next time, I'll catch you all next time. See you, everyone. Later, Earthlings, like Holly would say. Later, Mia. See you, everyone. Take care.